Oh, there's a button. There's a go live button.
Tricky.
Yeah, so there's a start streaming and then a go live button. So I think we should be.
Oh, there we go.
Do you see it?
Yep.
Oh, here we go. Sorry about that, everyone. There's two buttons: a start streaming button and a go live button. And we just clicked the start streaming button. We didn't click the go live button. So intros. Well, we did a warm up. We can do another one. Apologies all. We are all volunteers, no professionals here. I'm going to start Atomic Heart again. Actually, I'm going to start Severed Steel.
The Severed Steel is the one that Praydog made.
The new build for the motion controls.
6-off motion controls.
Yeah.
So that should be a good kind of template to look at for building other motion controls. And then Praydog has made a huge step forward with blueprint modding. And so that kind of opens up a whole new door, I think even further than what we saw with what he did here. So this was kind of like his initial experiment.
Yeah, here we go. Everything's working fine.
This is one of my favorite also.
So this little box, which I'll make bigger, is the Unreal VR framework similar to the Resident Evil one, but I would say a lot more powerful, just by its very nature. I'm going to make this bigger, so you can see I'm just using gamepad controls to navigate it. That should be quite visible for everyone, I think.
Yeah, it looks good on mine.
Cool.
Oh yeah,
looking good. So at the very bottom, we've just put in a simple plugin, just a .dll file, and drop that in, and we've got motion controls. So I've got all full control here. I'm going to open up a level. Let's pick a starting weapon. This one. I'm going to put it on easy because I'm not a gamer or pro gamer. So you can see here we have full motion controls. So I get my headset on straight. Here we go. I've not played this level before. Wait, how do I get up there? There's a button? Oh my god, that's a wall that explodes.
It's a double jump. You can double jump in the air.
We need a new gun. You see that?
It's pretty crazy, the physics system in this, where you can just knock down any wall.
Yeah, I was surprised at how much interactiveness there is in slow down time. You can lean around walls as well. Ooh, I've not seen this before. Now this plugin is still very early, so there is some of the weirdness with some of the guns, but oh my god, that's a lot of damage.
So Ender's
you can also
VR
use the UE temporal upscaler too, the one that was just added.
That's a good point. Let's turn that on. So this section here, these are all the CVARs, and Severed Steel is good that a lot of them are available. Not always the case, but we can turn on the algorithm and turn that down to like 80, and we get some extra performance. Not that we kind of needed it too much here, but we can even add a bit more sharpness if we wanted. That looks pretty good. I mean, it just looks like a native VR game to me in the headset.
Yeah, somebody was asking about the motion sickness for this game. I think it's just like any other smooth locomotion game.
Oh yeah, for sure. If anything, it's better than like Sorrento because you do actually go upside down in that. Okay, the shotgun needs work.
Last night. Yeah, I almost fell out my window.
Dog is barking. Sorry about that. Let's see.
Now I think Lance and Elliot, you're both. I think your volume is good, but the others you might need to turn your volume up or speak a bit louder.
Someone asked, do we know where Praydog is from, or is that not something ever shared? I don't think he's ever shared that before publicly, but
From the future, at
just
least.
yeah, from the future. That sounds about right. But yeah, this is definitely one of the better showcase games in terms of like getting blueprint modding to work within the existing framework.
Yeah. And this kind of gives people an idea of what they could work on with the other games.
So for Michelangelo, is the mod released there for full testing or full release? No, it's not released yet, but when it does get released, it will be free and open source.
Yeah, some people were thinking it was going to be charged or there was some conspiracy going on. But I mean, it really is a monumental task. I mean, you've just seen how much we've tested. There's been so many things that have cropped up, different Unreal Engine versions, games that do different things. Not that it's built specifically for certain games, but there's been systematic problems that occur with each of those that need to be fixed, if I'm getting that right.
Yeah, and another thing that popped up was D-pad. You know, how do we incorporate D-pad into controls? And that was kind of a big thing for a while, trying to get that figured out.
Yeah. So it's with the capacitive thumb rest. To be fair, Seven still doesn't really do D-pad that often, but and then the right stick becomes a modifier. Now, do we know if the Pico has one of those as well? I don't know if we've tested that. But I did see some questions earlier about Pico headsets and the D-pad.
Yeah, that answer or that question, I don't think we ever got officially answered. I think somebody was going to try it, but
yeah, because it is a new feature. Like, it's pretty new, as in like days old, right? I mean, it was only like the last week or middle of the previous week, right?
So keep the questions coming. I think maybe a lot of people do ask what's taking the time it has to release, and I think for some reason, I think one issue at the very beginning was that somebody else was attempting this crazy idea of a mod, New Java Man, and so he did start some work into it, but stopped. And then it's only been a little over 6 months ago that Praydog, like completely from the ground up, decided to tackle this project. And so just what he's been able to do, if you get a chance to look at the GitHub change logs, each one of those small things he's doing sometimes are like huge hurdles that he's overcome, where you can see it's playable, but then in the state that you want to release it in, that the public can just play with it themselves without some type of long tutorial. If this happens, then do this. If that happens, that kind of thing, where a lot of times people just it's too complicated, so they give up. So that's where he's just been cranking on solving so many little things, and it's way beyond, I think, what any of us really imagined was possible universally already.
Yeah, I mean, Seven Still is kind of a pretty good example of what we expect the community to get to with a lot of these games after some time. But I can load up some different games that aren't as perfect. So let's do.
Can you do Atomic Heart again?
Yeah, let's try Atomic Heart.
Awesome.
there
I think that's a great one to showcase on that, especially the new motion controls, the 3D off.
is there a way to show your desktop just to
Yeah.
show like how to? Yeah. Okay. That
Let's do that.
steps on injecting.
Mers asked, are there any modders working on 6DOF for other games? Right now, the process of blueprint modding, Praydog is still refining, so some of those have kind of held off. And also an invitation, if anybody as a modder does want to get involved and has background in modding, definitely reach out.
So yeah, I've got the game up. Pretty simple. I just pick it from a drop down. So I find Atomic Heart, easy enough. I pick OpenVR or OpenXR, and you can like pre-select some settings, but it's as simple as just clicking inject, and then you just click on the game, and it will appear in the headset. Second, it does take longer depending on the game.
So Stony VR has asked, do we need first-person mods? Some games will need it. Of course, like if they're not natively, like if they don't have a first-person option, but like alternatively, you really can move the camera anywhere that you want. So, Alex, maybe you could show like how the camera moves around too.
Yeah, let's do the camera offset. Yeah, the camera offset is really powerful, and it's really customizable to be like. So you can see I'm actually, because I've moved my chair a bit, I'm not in the right place. So we can reset very quickly, right trigger and Y, and the X does the standing height, so we're kind of back into position. But once it's open, I can just hold the right trigger and move with the sticks. And I can move around. Oh, look at that. So you see some stuff that you're not supposed to see. But especially in third-person games, you can really find a comfortable spot, whether you want to be closer or further away, and you can very quickly just get back to where you were. So you can see here we've got this is the freed off. So unlike Severed Steel, I can't kind of bring that round to me. We also have the D-pad emulation. So you can see I'm doing left and right on the D-pad to change weapons. But you can look all around. And yeah, it does feel pretty good, I think, as a like out of the box first solution. I mean, obviously the 6DOF is way better, and this is one hand, but I can change it to two-handed as well. Open the menu, go down to controller. I'm going to do two-handed right. So now I have to bring my left one. And now my left one is kind of the pivot around the right one. So I can still kind of move the right one to influence it, but it's mainly the left one. Let's just try it with left-handed. I think we were playing this earlier. I think we're continuing the exploration. We need to power up the elevator. Okay, let's go. Also, we have
what determines if a game is 6DOF? Well, specifically for the motion controls, those have to be modded in per game basis. So like most games will be able to work with the 3DOF or like the motion controls demonstrated here, where it's kind of like almost like a mouse cursor, like you're able just to kind of move it across the screen, but you can't really like rotate your hand necessarily. You can't move forward or backwards.
So that's probably a bit confusing with the read-off motion controls and 6DOF head working on most games. Alex, could you maybe get out of your seat and show what the 6DOF head motion looks like?
Yeah, let's hopefully I'm still in frame, but you can just, should I get up to something? I can really just look around, move back, I can move forward. I don't want to knock my camera over. It's attached to a very heavy PC. Yeah, you can really like lean in and around things, and upside down. You can get closer, move further back. And in some games, I remember playing Abzu and just standing up out my chair just to get like a big view below me, or kind of really just, oh, what's in this pot? Like really lean over and take a look. So that's the 6DOF. But the 3DOF, again, is just kind of like that one plane that I'm moving around.
And so when you go from 3DOF to 6DOF motion controls, you can see how like those animated hands that he's holding would suddenly break. You'd probably, like as you saw with Severed Steel, the weapons were made like detached from anything, so they were floating, so you could either do that, which or also create some hand models and do like VRRK, which certainly is more complicated, but like that transition from 3DOF, where you're keeping a lot of these game animations here, suddenly changes and becomes quite a bit more complicated to transition to like 6DOF motion controls. But definitely possible. Yeah,
I think that's a good point too to mention, because some people may ask, well, why can't we get 6DOF motion controls universally? And I think you explained it pretty well. It's like, well, how do you create a new animation universally for you holding like the axe in one hand? You really can't, because it work for every game.
And then you're having to create. I mean, you've probably seen a lot of the Udemy games that have made that transition well, but like as a modder, then you have to, rather than the button press to swing that axe, then you need to say, okay, when the velocity swings this hard, then do X amount of damage, and you're needing to like program those specific things in there. Otherwise, like that button press he did, that's not gonna translate automatically just by swinging your hand in real life.
Yeah,
anyway, it's a whole other like step that a modder would need to do, is like, okay, let me translate this movement to move the axe, and then if it collides with something based on the velocity that I swung, here's how much damage they should apply to that. And then you need to kind of do that for each weapon, like different custom things that make motion controls work. Guns are a lot easier because you can just kind of say point it and then shoot that direction. Things like an axe, that's kind of creates.
The gun would be easier, at least maybe, but it would still look janky if these arms were still attached. The 6DOF version. So I
don't know if anyone saw the original Praydog's first, like one of the first videos he did for Resident Evil, where it was keeping the same animations and he didn't have any type of VRRK. So like moving the hands, it just stretched it. It looked like a demon hand. Like cookies, it just it would warp all around, and it looked like it was scarier than anything. Like that's actually in the game. Made your character like a horror movie.
So there's a few questions here. I'll see if I can go back and answer some of them. Let's see. With the gamepad, could this be considered, or could this be compared to something like the Alien Isolation mod in terms of head aiming stuff? You can turn on head aiming on here.
Yeah, we can do that now.
Yeah.
So we're going to move from right controller to HMD and game movement. So you can see now my head is doing it. So that's similar to the Alien Isolation. So I'm just moving my head. And also you can move the sticks as well. In some games, not in this one. But you can move it left and right with the stick, and then up and down for fine movement. You still look into things, but just that reticle is following the head aim. But generally,
on a game like this, it's good to use the head motion or the head steering too. I don't know if you showed that or not.
Yeah. So this, that's normally what I would default to. So I would go to the 3DOF motion control and then the HMD movement. So if I look left and look forward, you see that I'm kind of going in that direction. So instead, I'm just going to push forward on the stick, and I move left, and I move right, and then so it kind of influences your movement there. So it can help when you're turning around, just to make it feel more
I
natural.
definitely think it makes it more immersive for sure.
Mm.
Yeah, and some people prefer, like controller orientation. Of course, that's an option too. I always like head orientation myself. But yeah, I think the head orientation was a great addition.
Oh god, this is a puzzle. Here we go.
Let's see. Does it save a profile for every game setting? Is this something you can share with other users? Yeah, so it'll share your configuration. Whatever you have set on here, the next time you load into the game, it'll load, like what Alex has on here now, like head orientation with the controllers, the 3-dot controllers. Next time he loads in, it'll have all those same settings. In terms of like profiles or like ideal settings, like we have the games that we've tested with things that work and don't work, and what CVARs to use and what settings in games, things like that.
Am I being dumb here?
Yeah, so as far as profile sharing, right now there is no framework to like automatically within the app just hit share, but that could be certainly something that would be cool to implement if somebody is a web developer who wants to help with that. Definitely reach out.
One? I suggest the one on the right. In other words, you don't
See,
actually
Adam
know.
Christopher Boyd, what part did your company play in the development of this mod versus Praydog's work? This is
another waypoint for
100% Praydog.
How dense do you
And
think I am?
I'm not sure where the company comes from. We're just a group of VR enthusiasts who formed a couple years ago who this kind of started with just a couple mods, and we grouped together and thought, hey, if we can kind of share our knowledge with other people, we can really build something here. And so that's kind of what it's grown from. And then Praydog has come out and done just impossible things that like we never imagined possible, especially with engines that like Unreal or Resident Evil. Unity was kind of the main one that we were using when we first started. But yeah, no company, no, like, we don't even have a way to like accept donations or anything. So nothing we do is anything but just pure passion and love and wanting to see projects like this happen and to support modders' work. And this is all Praydog.
Yeah.
Somebody asked about a Quest Pro and foveated rendering with eye tracking, and they just asked what is the gain on there. It depends on the game, but one thing to keep in mind, well, two things. OpenXR Toolkit, of course, is a separate tool that you could use with the Injector or with Praydog's mods, but a lot of these games are DX12, and so there will be problems with eye tracking and crashing sometimes with DX12. However, the developer did try to mitigate that, so it may be better now, but there had been some crashing just in the past with it. But like Atomic Heart, for example, you can actually use a launch code like DX11, and eye tracking will work fine. And so in terms of like gains, I mean, it's like maybe 3 milliseconds of frame time. So it is helpful, but I still think like DLSS is better to choose over eye tracking if the game has it. But if it doesn't and it's a DX11 game, then eye tracking is really nice to have.
And more recently, we've been playing with Epic Games' own upscaler, the FSR, which, at least in a couple things I've tested, it looks better in VR than
It's nice.
DLSS. I'm not sure why, but it looks really sharp. So I need
And
to
more
test
frames a
it
second.
more myself. But what's that?
And more frames a second, I found.
Yeah. So there's a lot more to test with there, but it does a very good, like very sharp image. Something that DLSS looks amazing in flat, but aren't always super happy with the results in VR. So
Because I've just turned that down to 80 now, and I don't really see any difference, honestly.
There's no other way forward. We have to take it.
Take it where?
Petrov escaped while working in Vavilov's cold workshop. It would be logical to begin
One
our
thing
search
I
there.
forgot to
So,
mention on a
get
game
there.
like this, for
First,
me,
we need
running
to
the
get to the
laptop
distribution
3060, I do have to use the launch codes
Take
to launch in DirectX 11. Sometimes I'll have performance issues with DirectX 12.
Yeah, a lot of the
Yep.
DX12 stuff has problems, especially if there's like ray tracing, DLS free. I know we get a lot of questions about frame generation and whether that will
You
work
can
or
swim
not.
through polymer. I've done it before. It's nice, actually.
in both Praydog
Swimming
and
whales and dolphins in
Praydog
the ocean.
have made some huge breakthroughs with adding DLSS and other stuff into the game. It's not really a focus for, or at least a huge focus for Praydog right now, but Praydog has been doing all kinds of cool stuff with it. So who knows what the future will hold as far as adding that into games. But there are thoughts of like, okay, how can we squeeze more performance out of it? Because it does take a toll on
There's the control
performance
panel.
generating
And
these
of
left
course
and
it's
right
locked.
images.
You guys just love these things, don't you? But this is a new one. A combination lock. It'd take me a year to guess the combo.
Look around.
Oh,
Maybe someone has
this
the
puzzle's
code.
pretty tricky.
It's going to be on like a logo somewhere.
To find the schematic.
Yeah.
What other games do you guys want to see?
Yeah,
What was that?
I can put something else on. I can do some more third-person stuff. It is my favorite.
Yeah.
Alex, what I think would be good is
Yeah.
I don't have any games downloaded that need this, but like a game that kind of injects initially broken, and then you have to
Yep.
use some of these bars to fix it. And
Yeah, let's do Grounded.
okay, yeah, that would be a good one.
So, closing it up. Slide that up.
I've seen Hogwarts Legacy requested a bit. I'm not sure if you've got that downloaded, but that is one of the more graphic intensive games out there. Still, even with I don't know. It's still I think will hopefully get a little bit more optimized. I think the Switch and like Xbox One ports are coming out soon, which maybe will translate some optimizations back to the PC side. But it's still a pretty heavy game. So even on my 4090, it's pretty hard to get without ASW. But we could maybe you can still show that at some point.
Yeah. So again, just injecting the Grounded, super easy. I am not a advanced user, I would say, so even for me this is super easy. There we go. Oh yeah, turn OpenXR on the screen. That would help. There we go, and we're in.
There's a question about manual reloads. That's in the same category of like adding 6DoF controllers. Then if you wanted to do continued blueprint modding, there is one game in the works that has some pretty incredible modded manual reloading into it, an Unreal Engine game. That's a cool example of like what you could do if you wanted to focus more on one single game, but not universally. It's not going to be out of the box.
Okay, so this, I don't know which eye it's capturing. It might be the left eye, but the right eye is very broken for me. So a whole bunch of... Oh, is it? Perfect.
It's on the left eye, yeah.
let me switch it. I can switch it to the broken eye. The UI is going to disappear briefly, but here we go. All right, right eye. So this is what I'm seeing in my right eye, and it's looking pretty bad. And you'd think, help. So
Yeah, perfect. This is it.
Lance, you're gonna have to talk me through how to fix this because you're a Grounded fan. Let me just make the UI size bigger so we can see what we're doing. I'm gonna use my mouse
Oh.
quicker.
Actually can't see the framework either. I don't think.
Oh,
You
it's
have
in
it
the
up.
right eye. All right, just tell me what tell me what we need to turn on. So
Be sub-scattering 0 for
Yeah.
this one. That
Actually,
should fix the.
I'll switch it back because you can see what's broken in my right eye and what we need to fix. So there we go. Okay. So subsurface scattering. Yeah, that is instantly fixed.
Did
It.
that 10 times fast.
Yeah, motion blur off, depth of field off. Let's do the temporal algorithm upscaling. Turn this down a bit. Change my resolution. There we go. That's looking pretty good now. This one has motion controls, right? How did I turn to first person again? It was
It'd be the D-pad down.
okay.
So I don't know if that one.
That one. There we go. I'm in first person, and I'm going to turn on the motion controls. So again, turning on motion controls is super easy, and not something you have to really worry about. There we go. I need.
Merz did ask about what do you think it's a good. Let's see. He says, do you think could be any legal troubles? I mean, I can't imagine a game developer would be like, "Hey, we don't want you playing our game this way." But the mod is built universally, so it doesn't know really anything about the specific game itself, and so it works on an engine level instead. So I think that kind of keeps anybody saying like you made like a mod for my game, since it's working on that level.
Yeah, it's not like an emulator,
Yeah.
right, where they've specific fixes for certain games in like the update codes.
Right. And then we've even had quite a few people from Epic Games even follow us. Tim Sweeney has liked a few of our posts. As far as like coming from Epic Games, I think they're also pretty impressed by what's been happening here with like what Praydog's been able to accomplish. So I don't think we'll see any issues on that side either.
Yeah, and I don't really want to compare it to other mods of the same game, but this does run much better because we are in native stereo, so it does have advantages of running that way.
Yeah, this is one of those games you can absolutely just get lost in for hours and just lose time.
Yeah, and this one I've actually played a lot on my 2060 Super, so it definitely runs pretty well. I mean, I have to turn some settings down, but with the upscaling options now and things like, and I've been playing it through virtual desktop, so it definitely runs really well.
Yeah, I mean, I think what am I on here? I'm on Epic settings. I mean, fair enough, that's with a 4090, but yeah, it feels really good. And I could probably crank this a bit higher as well. Cool. I did see on Twitter people wanted to see Earth Defense Force Iron Rain again, so I'm gonna switch to that now. Unless there's anything else in Grounded you want me to show.
Somebody to jump in that koi fish pond.
Yep. Here we go. Yeah, this the water effect is quite intense.
Yeah, it is a little bit interesting.
Yeah. It does feel like you've had a few too much to drink after a while underwater here.
Yeah, I think it may be nauseating for some players, but because the option to switch to third person is pretty easy, I think that makes it a bit more gentle. So.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's scary looking. So spiders in the water.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna slowly die. I'm sorry for all the phasmophobia people out there. And with horror games as well, it's intense. I would say a lot more than Flat. I mean, I could pull up Visage or Demonologist.
I think a lot of people are still asking for Hogwarts. It looks like.
Oh, okay. I don't have that installed because honestly, the Loot Cross is probably the best bet at the moment. I think. Would you agree for that?
I have gone back and forth. I think there's some things that's better about synced with ASW, but anytime it jerks, like anytime you have a game stutter, if you're using the ASW, you get especially a bit of smearing that can be motion sick inducing. Whereas the alternate eye rendering doesn't take as big of a hit. If like it jerks, it doesn't smear quite as much since it's still going to jump to the next frame. So that's one thing that hopefully they'll smooth some of those hitching that's going on in the game and make that kind of a more pleasant experience. Because I think it could be quite a bit better, but right now I would say like the hitching is probably the one area that makes it harder to enjoy much. And that's like running pretty fast throughout the world. But like if you just want to go in and explore, or even if I don't know, it's still a pretty amazing experience. So anybody who's excited about that one, hopefully it'll just get better from here.
I'm gonna switch to a traditional controller now.
So somebody mentioned still hoping for a good RTS game in VR someday. Do you have any
Yes.
in mind that you really like, or because I know you've tested quite a few?
Battlefleet Gothic, the Warhammer game, very good. There's like, for some reason I tested a lot of Viking RTS games. They're all okay. Some of the new features have really helped, like the decoupled pitch, the mouse cursor. So now we can force the mouse cursor on the screen. I realize I'm very engaged with it.
And we haven't even shown this off, but Praydog also got a working example of being able to point the controller that I think could be really good for RTS games.
The
where it kind of
pointer
controls the mouse, how you're pointing it within the game. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he posted a small clip of him testing that recently, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you can play that. Or...
I could pull that up. But yeah,
I was gonna say that's not the latest build, is it? Or that's just the.
I think he hasn't pushed it yet. There's still a lot of work on it, which is again, yeah. There's lots of things like this that require work. So, I also just wanted to mention the rendering methods that they get a lot of. We did get a lot of questions about alternate eye rendering and what's similar and what's the difference between like synchronized, sequential, and native. And you can switch and it not be a kind of a loss. So I'm in synchronized now, and you still have full 6 DOF. It's just I'd say the performance is slightly worse. But I mean, in a game where you have plenty of headroom, it's fine.
And that's
Anyone
another
has... Oh, go ahead.
just about the synchronized sequential is, if a game has a lot of kind of broken shaders or a lot of effects that are in one eye that aren't in the other, switching to synchronized sequential would essentially fix most of those problems. At the cost of performance.
So it's a great kind of fallback. Always try native stereo first, and that takes advantage of when it's rendering a frame in a scene to get that second eye. It does some optimized things to save a bit on performance, so it's not like cutting that second frame quite in half, like your performance in half, like a lot of times doing the left and right frame does. If anybody has played Praydog's Resident Evil mods, like in its current form, he is working on a new render method for that, but in its current form, that's using the equivalent of the synchronized rendering. So if you've already played that, then you're familiar with that. And then the native is even better than anything you've seen. I mean, native is the same
VR
if you
game.
just played a normal Unreal Engine VR game.
And it does depend on like your ability to ignore the imperfections I know, Lance, like sometimes you get annoyed a lot at like some things, and I do as well. Sometimes that where I'll switch if I really want something, but if there's like one shader off on a mountain or some weird thing that's like really tiny, I'll just ignore it and keep native, honestly.
Yeah, I try to keep
That's the
native.
best bet.
Yeah, for as much as possible, and then a few games I use synchronize if it's too broken, in terms of like just too many effects in one eye. So like Returnal is one that I think is a great game. It works really well in native stereo. It's just kind of the second level does have a few shaders or like effects in one eye, whereas you don't notice it very much in the first level at all. So I kind of just gotten used to it on the second level, but some people may switch to synchronized sequential just for that level, which is okay because the performance is pretty decent on that game.
And you can change in seconds, like I've just changed here, and bam, you're away. And that was just with the controller. So there is another one, AFR, but you really just don't want to use this. I don't think we've really. I think there was maybe
AFR is
one
the
game.
same thing as alternate eye rendering. That's
This is Lucross.
Like if you played, that's still an option if you want.
Yeah, somebody had asked, are there well optimized games working with co-op? A lot of the games or Unreal Engine games that have multiplayer or co-op that aren't using like an anti-cheat engine or something, they'll work. So like I think Astroneer, of course, Grounded, quite a few of them that would work.
Yeah,
now I know
brand new stuff. I mean, there was that free-to-play football game that came out, Mega Strikers, and that works perfectly.
Yeah, my brother and I were playing Sackboy. It's like Astrobot kind of, but has multiplayer, and that's really, really fun to play together. Like a Mario platformer type game.
I do actually have that installed. We could load it up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think I was only just showing this because there's like some effects which are very, very subtle, which I'll switch between synchronized and native. Also, just with this, you can actually see that sometimes in a game you might be really far away from the camera, and you can very quickly kind of create a new offset, and by holding right trigger, and there's like shortcuts if you see in the middle of the screen, and you can save to like a face button, and then just load between them very quickly to switch where you are, which is very cool.
Since you're pulling up Sackboy, that particular game, I'm not sure how it is on the flat screen, but in VR you can really see quite a level. I'm surprised like how much of the level you can really see in terms of the distance.
Yeah, it's incredible. There's so many of these platformers like Crash Bandicoot 2 or Crash Bandicoot 4 that it almost looks like they had VR in mind, because you can just see like all in 360, turn around and see that they kept everything like rendering, and you can see just so many detail that like you're in this world, and when you're playing flat, it almost looks like they kind of designed it around just one direction, but no, they kept everything all around you, so it feels just like you're playing like Astrobot or something.
Like intro to Sackboy, like you're on like the ship, and like kind of that opening segment, you can turn around and see everything behind you. It's really interesting.
Alex, do you have any racing games to show off?
I do. What have we got installed racing game wise? Did I install anything? To be fair, I did have Till Nord. Honestly, a lot of the racing games we have tried normally have had some annoyances, like the Desert Dakar Rally, or they've been like really small games that no one really knows about. So like Monster Truck Championship, or the rock the rock thing.
The rock climbing
that
one?
was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
the rock. Yeah.
Do you have Grid, or what is it? Is it Grid?
I'm not that well prepared. I do have a lot of stuff though. I should have downloaded more. Should have downloaded racing games. I do have Everspace.
That may be a good one to share.
Yeah,
Just thinking
Everspace.
like different genres.
Yeah.
Or Gravel. Gravel is the one.
Yeah. I need to download that. There's just so many games. It's you do get you lose track of what there is. I do have the redacted games that we're not allowed to show.
Okay.
There's cars in it, but no.
That's funny. Yeah, Department of Clouds, you're just saying real shortage of co-op games. And the incredible thing too about this is you can also play with friends that don't have VR. So it's really cool to be able to play something like Sackboy with a friend who doesn't even have a VR headset, and like you're completely immersed as if you're playing a made for VR game, playing with somebody who doesn't. And that's something that's really lacking, I think, in the VR space.
I agree. That's like Aliens Fire Team. That's a great one just to play online with
Mm.
people, and it's just flawless almost.
Yeah, and with like Unreal 5, there'll be more games that you'll be playing with like Switch people, mobile, iPad, and you could be in VR at the same time. Go Everspace. So you just click on it. Oh, I'm using a PlayStation controller. I forgot this is on Game Pass. Where is the... There we go, we're all good. Maybe it's a little bit bigger. I thought I had a save, maybe I hadn't saved it. Or I played a demo. Okay.
Oh yeah, more Mirage. Alex did try the Invincible, I think earlier today. How was that, Alex?
Oh, the Invincible. That works. So in terms of our ratings, I would say that's like works well. There was a few. Oh, we can load it up in a second. Yeah, to see. You have a space helmet, and there are a few games that your character will have a helmet, and you're like physically inside it, and it's like supposed to be quite a tight helmet. So any relaxed movement, you're kind of clipping through it. So yeah, it's kind of interesting if you kind of imagine yourself in a helmet. But if you're quite a fidgeter, then it can look a bit.
That'd probably be. That might even be something just the toggle player visibility could fix.
This is another thing. Like cutscenes are just completely a different experience. Sometimes they're like enhanced by being in VR. Sometimes you'll see stuff you're not supposed to. Like spoilers. Like a monster that's about to jump out.
And you can toggle that UI to remove the black bars. If maybe you could share that just while you're watching.
Yeah. You can. Where's the UI? I mean, the UI adjustments were quite new as well. We can move them. Well, they're at the bottom, aren't they? So yeah, you can make them smaller, bigger. You can move them forward or back, or you can just turn it off completely. And then you can just turn it back off if you need to.
Crap. What's wrong? Booster jammed. Could use a push.
That immersive view.
We've got a
Yeah.
clunker
Oh,
back
wait,
here.
there's a button for.
Let's meet nearest ship.
There we go. There we go. We're in the cockpit.
Bucks 808. You definitely want to check out that Excel spreadsheet that Alex has been keeping. That shows all the games he's tested and kind of the rating on that. I think we would like to finish some type of website. We have kind of a Discord forum set up for each game where you can have ratings and talk about it, like, and then probably mod it from there if you want to do any additional stuff. But yeah, definitely want to make it easy to kind of see if there's any special stuff you need to do or what kind of the out-of-box rating the game has.
Yeah, basically anything with a cockpit mode translates really well. I mean, space games, there's a lot of the UI, like with Ace Combat, is a bit tricky, but any driving game definitely just is an automatic win, I think, with the Injector. I think this tutorial was like quite boring. I think.
Do you need the UI? Oh no, you have it.
Yeah, yeah. I think maybe. Am I going faster? Ooh, that's a flip. Ooh, dropping some frames. Ooh, it's not liking me. To be fair, I do have a lot of stuff open.
All the streaming stuff running.
Yeah. Also, a lot of these games, because I've been testing so much stuff, I always forget what the controls are for all of them. Yeah. All right, I do have a video on this. I'm going to switch to something which is a bit more entertaining. I think we literally just go into a rock and then shoot some stuff, but it takes like 20 minutes.
I think Elliot, maybe did you play the Minecraft game with the
Yeah, that
Injector?
works really well. The new Legends is using, I think, Bedrock, so it's not actually Unreal Engine, but Dungeons is super fun, and that's another really good co-op game. It's a lot of fun, kind of like Diablo in Minecraft world. But yeah, that works great with native stereo.
I'll show up one of the works okay games, because I know there's a lot of questions about like the playability and what is good. Like, are a bunch of them like really broken, or can you like not play them? So I'm gonna open a fighting game, and there's a lot of fighting games that have like broken UI, and I've kind of put them in the works okay category, but they're still like super fun.
Yeah, so again, somebody was wondering about like community settings for games. Mindjive asked this question, but yeah, so pretty much most of the games that we've tested, there's a kind of a channel in the Discord right now that has a list of them, and then we kind of list the things that we had to change when we tested the game to make sure it worked. It was optimized, changing C-bars and settings in games, like disabling depth of field or motion blur, things like that. So those things are listed, and as Elliot was saying before, the goal would be to eventually get that to a website, so it'll be kind of organized and easier to find for people.
Yeah, we could probably, all the initial testing, I think Praydog said we could probably just package that in the initial download of it that has all the. Are you trying to get to 500 games testing, Alex?
Yeah, I'm
trying. At least you'll have
at least 300. I think that would be good.
Okay, so at least like those would have maybe built in any settings. Maybe I don't know if that would. I mean,
a lot of them
that would
mean
similar. You're including the like game name in it, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, the flow chart of trying to find the right settings is kind of the same with every game, I think. So you start with native stereo. If there's anything broken, you kind of turn down some of the C-bars like depth of field, motion blur. You toggle a bunch of stuff on and off, see if that makes an effect. If not, move to synced. And that's generally as much as you really have to do, I'd say, most of the time.
Yeah.
Just like I've got Steam and Xbox open, that's probably why. There we go. I guess.
BX Rabbit asking about Hogwarts Legacy's motion controls. That does use its own player character system, so that would require like a custom thing built, but it's entirely possible with like additional modding.
Yeah, I think Marcel's just asking the question that you just answered, that there's a potential that, like, upon download of the Unreal Engine mod, that the like games with settings already in place that were optimized that we found would be placed, but that would be kind of a bonus. It wouldn't necessarily be something that is for sure going to happen, but something that has been talked about.
Yeah. Either way, we have, like I said, the Discord channel that is super easy just to jump to, see a game rating, click download, or check up any settings. And as you see, Alex kind of moving through these settings are quite easy to set. Yeah.
That's what we need.
Yeah. I think that would always be a good kind of best practice, is to look up your game first before you like inject, to see if there's anything special you would need to do, and or like any specific CBAR or setting that you would have to have turned off, so you have a direction at least, and then you can see how it looks from there.
Yeah, especially when you're using the DLSS games, sometimes you have to restart them get the performance working right.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point too. And another point on that is you can always reinitialize like OpenXR or OpenVR while you're in headset, and sometimes that'll be enough to kind of reboot it. Just depends.
Yeah, I was actually having problems there trying to get that to start, but I forgot it was in full screen. So generally you want to be like in windowed. It also prompted me to, there was like OpenXR plugins already within the game engine. But most of the time actually it will still inject and it will nullify them, but occasionally you have to add like no HMD to the launch properties, or it will prompt a window where the location of the files are, and you can just rename them to get around that.
Yeah.
Is anyone going to be online? Maybe.
But somebody asking about BioShock, which I think is
UE3?
the wrong engine version. Yeah. So it's Unreal Engine 3, so it won't work with the Injector.
Unreal Engine 3 was almost a completely different engine in some ways. It was before they licensed a lot of stuff. And then Unreal Engine 4 was kind of Epic Games built their own like physics engine and a lot of things from the ground up to make it their own, and then they were able to make it open source or source code available. And yeah, so that does mean the older BioShocks don't work, but the new one in development is supposedly Unreal Engine 5, so that whenever that releases will hopefully work. Yeah.
I'll actually play with someone online. So just prepare for me to get absolutely destroyed.
Believe in victory. Battle 1.
So on the screen you probably don't see the UI, but it's in like my very wide periphery. I'm doing better than I thought. I'm gonna get destroyed within seconds in these online matches.
So wait, is this game in native stereo that you're playing? Or?
Yes, it is. But a lot of these fighting games, like Tekken 7 is very popular, and all of these Arc System Works, there's lots of them, like Dragon Ball, Guilty Gear, they all have the exact same problem. So a lot of the time you'll find one game and its sequels will have all the same problems or need the same fixes. So you can kind of go into them expecting like if it's going to work or not, or what settings you're going to need.
Battle 2.
Tiny world scale. And again, like playing a fighting game, normally you're kind of locked to that 2D plane, but it just feels so freeing to actually be able to look around and be right there. I'm getting destroyed now.
So somebody asked where are the health bars. So I'm assuming, I guess this is rendering in your opposite.
I can see them almost in the very top of my headset. So this is an example of where UI is sometimes broken. It's either the UI just doesn't present itself like in State of Decay 2 properly, or it's like a game world object. Sometimes it's just like a physical object, and if you move your head, it will go. It will just move if you're displaced in any way.
Yeah. So this UI is not in Slate, I guess. That usually that.
Yeah. So it entirely could. Yeah, we'll have to see. That might be fixable universally, but since the mod is focused on Unreal Engine, it's hitting all the Unreal Engine code itself, and so some of these games, just a few number of them, are using third-party UI systems. A popular one like Borderlands uses. It's a form of Adobe Flash that's actually running the whole Borderlands 3 UI system, and I think most of these are using that. So it's like an Adobe Flash UI system that's like no longer in existence. So that probably won't even be an issue going forward with any newer stuff that's in the other games in that system. So it's just a matter of maybe figuring that out, but that's kind of a separate task from the main objective of Praydog's mod.
I actually won a round, and I was only worried about the sound that I lost the second one. But yeah, so although like in this instance, the UI is only broken actually in the matches, so actually navigating is fine. So like this could very much be like a works well, but I've just put it as works okay in case like that's super important to you. But generally, if you know a game quite well, some elements of the UI, if they're not present, are fine. And some things like in Tekken 7, you can just take your headset off and it will just instantly appear as flat on your screen, so you can always use the UI there if you need to, and just put your headset back on after you've like configured something. Change to a different game.
Now, Tony asked if you can adjust UI in game, that'd be perfect. And for like we were talking about, I mean, the vast majority of these games you can. You can adjust the distance, and you can toggle them on and off. Like in Grounded, sometimes I'll play with the UI turned off, just to have a more immersive experience.
Astroneer. I know that's super popular, and I think there might be quite a lot of interest from community members around some of these massive games to work further on them. So we've got Astroneer open. Pick it from the drop down. Native stereo, OpenXR.
Yeah, someone was asking if it turns most platformers into a Moss-like experience. It really does. I think. I mean, it is kind of third person.
Yeah, especially if the game
it's bad.
Sackboy and Crash Bandicoot have fixed camera position, so like the for the most part, like the players run and it doesn't always follow always at a fixed distance. So it really has that same camera style that Moss does. And then something that's built into the mod that you won't really be able to see on a video is just being able to change the world scale. So you can make, like, if you want to make the characters look like they're like mouse size or giant, you can actually just change that in any game, which is really cool.
And that saves with the camera offset as well, so you can switch from 1:1 scale to tiny scale just with the saved. Yeah, it's a bit difficult to show, but when you do make the change, I zoom in a lot. I think this is one of the older games as well with the UE versions. That works.
I think it's got a pretty big modding scene with a lot of stuff like add-ons you can get for the game.
So you can see I kind of like move around, but if I just make it even tiny world scale, I can really move quite a distance with my head. And he's quite small.
But yeah, it's amazing how it doesn't show in video, because you're like, it's so obvious, like everything just looks like just
tiny,
super tiny. Yeah.
Especially, I mean, some of these games, I mean, I kind of wish for some flat screen games I had some of these options, honestly, like to change where I'm looking, and because now I've been spoiled that every single game I can just every UEVR game at least, to just make a perfect camera view. And I'll show you moving the UI as well. So especially when you've got something tiny, I do like to kind of move it closer and then smaller and then closer again to me. So it's just in my periphery right close to me. And you can also offset it, so you want it left or down a bit.
And then save those as presets too, so you can kind of toggle between some of those, which is nice.
So my Jive had asked that, do the weapons in many first-person games feel oversized? And if so, is there any way to scale them down without scaling the whole world? I know that for a lot of the first-person games that I've tried, the weapons were okay, but there are some games where the weapons the scale is off for the weapons, but I don't know on top of my head which games those are. I'm not sure if in the current state, if there's a way to address that.
Yeah, I think Outer Worlds is one where the weapon, and so you've got different kind of cameras on the first person like gun models, and so you can actually set like hard code a certain field of view to remain on that camera in the blueprint. So you would have to override that basically to match, but that is kind of the exception. I think a lot of the games that we've tried, the weapons feel like just like any native VR game size.
And it tends to be the older ones I find that have more of the problems. Like generally the 427 or 26 games that come out recently, touch wood, generally seem to be more. They have less surprises to them than some of the really old ones from like 2016, 2017. I'm trying to think what else to show. I've got quite a lot of stuff installed.
I think I missed this question, Marcel, about Unity modding. If you just want to ping me in the Discord, I can be happy to talk about Unity modding too, but that's probably out of the scope of this stream.
I'm launching the Invincible now, which just came out today as a demo. And we do get this a lot about updates, because a lot of other mods will break with an update. I've not had that experience yet over all these months testing. That's not happened, I believe, yet.
Yeah, and again, since this is working on a universal level, like game updates really shouldn't change anything because it's not modding anything game specific. So unless they switch from like a default Unity or like Unreal UI back to the old antiquated Flash system, then like I don't think that's going to necessarily break with the game update.
Yeah, that's a very good point too, to mention that like game updates should not like break the injector. Like, as a rule, it would be like an exception if it did, but generally it wouldn't. Whereas historically, other mods, every update may be it may break the mod, but this one shouldn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, this there's been a few games where I've tested where we've had a helmet. This also
Interesting.
will show off the near clip plane that we added for the quarry. You can see that if that's bigger, you will kind of clip through some of the objects that are present. And we found this was pretty bad in the quarry. And I was complaining to Praydog about it, which is why we've got this little slider in there now. And if you lower that down, you can see that less stuff clips closer to your camera, so you can get closer to it. So it is useful for times when you've got this like helmet around you.
Does head turning fix that? I'm just curious. Or head locking.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. No, it's the motion controls are a bit off in this one. And the decoupled pitch, which is which kind of I'm gonna have to reset everything. Is that back to normal?
You
No,
could
not
just
yet.
crank that near clip plane slider up
Yeah.
a bit and basically make it disappear.
Well, that's broken all my controls now. Turning that on. Can I go back? Let me go back to the menu. So some things like that, because I mean the motion controls are like experimental, so just be aware that they might not all be perfect. So my right trigger is now no longer working. Maybe move the mouse a bit. No. Yeah. Oh no, it's decoupled pitch is on. Reset to default. Do I have my controller back? No, not yet. Unplug controller, plug controller back in. Here we go. Oh, back to me.
Yeah, so the snap turning does work. I think in every game I've tried it with. It's a separate like add-on mod, but it does work universally.
All right, who was the one who suggested turning on head aiming? I think I tried this.
Yeah,
I tried
that
this
was me.
before, and it needed a restart. This is good. It shows that it still needs the work and time, right? of polish.
Yeah, so when you see a game like this, it's not hard to just probably move that clip plane so you just don't see the helmet. But if you wanted to fix it, you could go in and use like a modding platform like UE4 SS and like try to parent the or other blueprint modding like parent that helmet to your look so it just stays with you locked on, since both are currently separated right now.
Oh, where are we? There we are. All right, we're all good. Controller is back. Turn that back on again. Yeah, I get that.
Do you have a copy of UE4 SS that you could launch a game to show that off?
Yeah, I've got it on Trepang, so we try
Okay.
Trepang. I think that's loaded with the snap turning and
Cool.
teleport.
I'm
Yeah.
entering the campground.
Somebody asked about blueprint modding,
Is anybody
and
out there?
that'd be a cool thing to show off because you can blueprints in Unreal Engine. Like you don't even have to write a line of code. You can make an entire game without writing any code, and it's using blueprints, which are these node-based programming language. And so all that can be edited and modded, and like even in real time, you can almost use UE4 SS as almost like a Chrome dev tools to like peek inside and change values and write scripts that modify those blueprints to do things that, like I said, like parent the helmet on top of your look camera or something like that. So when you move your head, then the helmet would move along with it. But that's kind of an example of creating a custom mod for the game.
I'm going to crash the Invincible. But,
It's
yeah,
not invincible.
It's not invincible, no.
I saw the resolution went up to
Yeah.
what 2.2 times or something.
That'll usually crash the game.
That would
Yeah.
do it, yeah.
Odin had asked if there'd be a list of top 10 games from Alex at some point.
Oh yeah. Although I'm very biased as to my taste, so it'll probably be some third-person JRPG or something, something like that. Souls-like.
It loses 3 points like Anime Girl.
Right.
Done wrong here. Okay. Oh yeah, I'm in. There we go.
Praydog, if you don't mind, I'd be curious too. What's the biggest challenge to developing the Fear Injector mod? I mean, I could answer seeing what it looks like you've had to work hard on, or especially harder on. But yeah, be curious of that.
I'm going to very slowly increase the resolution this time. There we go. Yeah, and then I'm going to turn on the motion controls. This one's basically got the works. I'm very much looking forward to the full game.
Yeah, it's really fun.
So here we go.
T-Mac asked about Ready or Not. That's one that there is a set of modders doing some incredible stuff. We haven't shown off any footage, but it's pretty amazing what they've been able to do with that game alone.
Yeah, so you might be concerned as to what these things are below me. They're leftovers from what Narcon was kind of using to debug this by using the default Unreal Engine starter VR project to kind of implement the snap turning and the teleport.
So that's it. Like you can see adding that 3D model into the game as it was, and that works pretty universally across games. If you get a second, if you could open up that UE4 SS window, do you have that enabled?
It's another good point to show the always show cursor, and actually I'll put it on comma or something. So now I can see my cursor. I'll do. Hopefully my keyboard. My keyboard might be UK. I flip between UK and US keyboard. Oh, here we go. Options. I'm just going to turn the volume down because it's really loud. Right, let me just check. I'm probably on UK keyboard. There we go. Oh, wait, it might be bringing it up, but I can't see it.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
I think there's a toggle in the config any that you need to set.
Yeah,
probably isn't set by default.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a bit like I said, like Google Chrome DevTools, if you've seen that, where you can kind of inspect all the blueprints that are going on in the game, seeing values in real time, and even do things like little Lua scripts that can drastically change how the blueprints work in real time. Really powerful to do real like quick, rapid testing and development. And then you can go back and do like build a new blueprint that overrides the current one in Unreal itself.
Let's pick one of these.
So a few questions on here. Somebody's asking, of course, what game this is. This is Trepang.
Yeah, 2
Trepang.
Trepang squared. Not
Yeah.
quite sure of the pronunciation.
Then somebody was asking, to my understanding, I can gain access to some of them via FlatVR's #mod access. Are they just trying for a lot of the other FlatVR mods? Yeah, that is a good way to get access to those channels. But for the Praydog mod for the Unreal Engine Injector, it's not publicly released yet.
It'll be sometime this year. We've got at least that window, but no exact date set yet.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a game I'm really excited about. It's really fun. Like you feel like you're in the Matrix.
Yeah, and the freed off really doesn't bother me too much because you can really move your head behind the gun stick. And, and the crosshair is really accurate, which helps. There is a bit of work to do on like the control bindings to make that maybe a bit easier, or just get like more guides and understanding of an easy way of mapping that. Because a lot of time the biggest friction will be you will load into a game, you'll pick up your motion controllers, and you would be like, which button does what? And generally you've got the normal kind of Xbox controllers, but sometimes they might not be in like the most comfortable position, so you might have a dodge on where you also need to move on your left stick. So things like that. You might have to, when you're kind of using the mod in future, expect I'm going to have to think of a solution to make control mappings work naturally with motion controls, rather than a gamepad or keyboard and mouse.
Andy, you asked about ready or not. I don't think there's really many hard limits that you couldn't add. I don't know if that's something like that's even something the modders like they want to add, but I think that would be entirely possible if they wanted to add that.
And somebody asked which games are definitely not working at all. Yeah, there's very few games that are just do not work. But basically, any like anti-cheat games, of course you're not going to be able to inject. It'll detect that.
Yeah, and you can launch most games with like anti-cheat offline, but the question is like, can you actually get past the main menu? And some have like you can at least play parts of it offline or play with bots or something like that. Others have private server mods, like Fortnite has one. I think
Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, Dead by Daylight has a private server mod, but not all of them have. Like PUBG, I don't think has one. So that might be one that's off limits. What's the one we've been needing to test? The
Squad
shooter. Yeah, Squad looks really cool. And that lets you do private server mods and kind of remove the anti-cheat even though it has it. So some games are similar to that. I think there's another one, Sandstorm.
Insurgency, Sandstorm.
Insurgency, yeah. I think that has a similar ability to do private server mods. Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going.
What was I saying? So in terms of like multiplayer games, generally expect probably all the Unreal Engine MMOs probably won't work, I would say. So I tested Blue Protocol's network tests, and even though the benchmark tool, which is essentially a small slice of the game, worked, a lot of these Unreal Engine MMOs aren't going to work, or any competitive online game without private servers, like Chivalry 2, which probably a lot of people probably want to play. That doesn't have any private servers yet. Days Gone is probably worth noting as something with like a very weird Unreal Engine version that isn't working yet, and like things like Sea of Thieves, which I'd imagine a lot of people would want to play.
I hope that can one day get working, because I think that'd be a pretty awesome experience in VR, especially playing with people. But that has a very custom version of the engine. They did a lot of custom code, and so it might having to be like digging through what is causing the crash, and all that custom stuff. Which I think, at least out of anybody talking, Praydog is by far the only one I know who would even make sense of some of those crash logs. But
someone asked what were the unexpected games that got enhanced well with the VR injection, which to me, I mean, virtually every game, is enhanced. Scorn was extra gross in VR, which I loved it.
Yeah.
Which one?
Scorn.
Yeah, some just especially jump out. You're like, man, I feel sad that like not everybody gets to experience this in this way, because it brings out so much work that the artists put into creating the game. So many details that, like even just something like Jedi Fallen Order, being able to see little droids and little things happening like along the world. There's this whole world that you just never see from the zoomed out third person camera playing on a flat screen. And I think it really makes you appreciate like the artist's work in the game.
Oh, absolutely.
Level.
Yeah. There are a lot of really small details that you pick up in VR. You're just like, wow, that looks really amazing.
There's some really amazing menus. I think Scorn has a really good one. There's also some other ones which have really unique menus that just take on a whole another level when you're in a menu. Like this thing is just I could spend like 10 minutes just in this menu just having a look. This is actually a good example of the depth of field not working. So it's the depth of field set for like a certain view distance, but we can turn that off to so I turn that off. Yeah, it's visible. On, off, on, off.
This is actually a Praydog mod you can test right now. Not this specifically, but Devil May Cry. But I remember watching like the intro scene, and it's just where the credits roll. And it's kind of an intro movie, and I was like, man, I would pay good money just to watch this intro in VR because it's so cool. And so stuff like that, I think you see all the time, where it's just such a different like experience rather than just this is a cool intro, but like being there and feeling it.
I think if you were in a shopping mall and you had a Scorn ride and it was just this, you could easily charge people $5 for like 20 minutes. Or like 5 minutes even. This is just a whole and I mean this is kind of a scary-ish game, creepy game, but when you get into like the actual horror games,
things are so juicy looking.
Yeah,
that's why it shouldn't be so juicy looking.
Lance, do you know how to progress this? I know we were both being very smooth-brained and didn't know how to progress this puzzle.
I think you, Jay, and I have all kind of got stuck at this whole area.
Yeah, we only have 3 brain cells to share with this. I think there's something to do with this egg thing. Also, I think it's controller.
You can go up, but
is it a D-pad?
no.
I don't know. I don't think I've tested controller motion controls with this one yet. So it might be that the controls are working, but they need mapping. Because kind of like with Ready or Not, we found that the motion controls work, but the control scheme for that game is insane anyway. And trying to figure out how to then map that to a touch controller. Here we go. Oh, it's because the decoupled pitch. X. Oh, there we go. And this is one where actually you don't really need motion controls that much because there's not really much shooting. It's more kind of a walking simulator most of the time. So you could even just turn on the HMD look. Although in this one that's kind of broken. But even just with a controller, it's quite comfortable to explore like this. Oh my god. It's something to do with these egg things. I know it's something to do with this.
Yeah, you have to move the chairs around somehow. It's kind of confusing. But...
Yeah.
Need a Russian translator. Let's see.
And this thing does something.
Or I'm not sure what language that is, but hey.
Someone said they may have patched the game so it won't work. Oh, I think they're talking about the Ross mod. Okay, yeah.
Oh, Red Dead Redemption, maybe.
I think GTA 5. There is a way to still get it working. GTA 5 is not Unreal Engine, but the remakes of all the prior games are.
Okay. I grabbed an egg. Do I lift it? There's definitely something about grabbing an egg here. And I think it's the one with the light. Oh, that's probably the final position of the egg. Maybe you have to get a human from somewhere. But yeah, this
Yes,
scale.
what's the scariest game that you've played, Alex?
Oh yeah, Visage. Yes.
No, Visage is scary, but Demonologist, I'll load it up. I literally physically can't stand that more than. I'll show you. I'll try and walk into the house and.
And I think your tolerance is better than mine.
Yeah, and even without motion controls, that's actually keyboard and mouse I was using that with. I'm petrified. Let me load that up. And that's Unreal Engine 5 actually as well, which is cool. I know the devs well, they seem quite enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, that's always cool to see. There's a lot of devs who have reached out who are really excited about seeing their games in VR, and I think that's one powerful thing that hopefully more devs that didn't even think about VR before will see just how like close to being a pretty incredible experience in VR, and how it makes sense to do VR, kind of real rapid prototyping kind of thing of ideas, being able to jump right in, hopefully grow even VR officially, where more devs will decide to make an official version because of it.
Okay. If people don't know, it's quite late at night here in the UK. I live in a Victorian house with a lot of old stuff in it. I'm gonna try and muddle through
It's like, this looks too much like my actual house. Like this, is that why it's scary?
Okay, here we go. Ooh, that one's a weird one. That's sending that to 50. Okay. So stuff like this. Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna need to use. So stuff like this, the mouse cursor actually doesn't line up that well. So for problems like this, you just take your headset off and then load up a game. And this is multiplayer as well, which is pretty cool. Gonna load up a game. Start, vote for a map. to vote for a map.
Harajuki Ninja asked about Ready or Not. I don't think the modders want to make it public yet. The Ready or Not, like a 6-off mod that they're working on. So, but just following the Flat2VR Twitter, you can get updates as soon as they're willing to share something.
So you constantly T-pose until you pick up an equipment. So it'll show how scary this game is, that even when having... Oh, there we go. I think there's like a cockroach on it. Okay, so you get a load of like demon apparati. How do we get that torch?
And this is another one that's in native stereo, looks like. Is that right?
Native stereo. Although this one does have like this kind of common thing we've seen where the arm, it's difficult to see on video, but it kind of tracks with the head movement. So even though I can get close to it, it's not got the proper depth. Like a small number of games have done this, and I think Borderlands has this issue as well. Okay, so I did read the Steam forums. You should be try and get a. I'm gonna try and get a torch. Give me 1 second. Is there a way of getting a torch?
Grey Wolf asks Alex, "Who are you?" No.
Oh, me.
No, like that.
Oh, me.
They're like, we see all your videos all the time, but I don't understand what your position is in Flat2VR. Did you create Flat2VR or are you a dev?
Well, I'm not Praydog. I didn't create it. I am a VR enthusiast. I only got into VR when I bought the Quest 2 on launch, as I was curious, and it was pretty cheap. And I've gone down a rabbit hole since then. I tested a lot of
Welcome to the dark
PSP.
side.
Yeah, the dark side now. I can't go back to flat games really. Well, I can, but it's difficult. But yeah, I tested a lot of PSP VR with Lubos, if you know who that is. I'm gonna just keep babbling because I'm freaking out right now. Okay, and this thing actually records your voice with the microphone. You see that?
Oh,
And
interesting.
you're like, hello demons, hello demons. Oh god.
So you're saying they can hear you?
Yeah, that they react to the audio logs.
Jeez.
Oh my god.
Boy, you're really calling them all in.
Oh
Teaching
no,
him
no.
about
Apparently there's like a
VR
demon
modding.
room you have to find or something. Oh god, what's this thing?
You gotta get in there.
It's a Ouija board. Oh god. No.
It's a bunch of nope
Oh
sauce.
shit. Wait. And the thing with this is like the 3D audio is just more effective.
I've heard if you play polka music while you're playing, it can be effective.
Oh, like this.
Yeah.
That's a person, right? That shadow over there? Is that a person?
Oh, I don't know. I can't see anybody.
Oh, there's a
Yeah.
very, very faint shadow of a person, I think. Oh my god, I've actually got... I don't know if... Oh my... What is that? What the... Oh!
I'm surprised you don't play with headphones.
Well, normally I do. It's just easier slinging the thing on. I'm going back to the car. Let's go back to the car. I actually got like I've got like chicken bumps right now, and I'm sweating. Wait, is it following me? What's this thing?
Take one for the team.
What is
Yeah.
this
Take
thing?
one for the stream.
What's this thing? All right, demonologist devs, if you watch this, please do a tutorial, because throwing new players into the demon house straight away is distressing. Okay, I'm gonna go back in. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm purging something. I'm finding a demon. This is like a...
Right. We've been waiting to see a demon in VR.
Oh god. Oh no. Okay. I'm gonna try. Oh my god, the mouse.
What are these devices? Like,
Yeah, there's all different demon tools, and like, you know those like paranormal programs where they have the gadgets.
Okay.
Oh, no.
What game this is? It's a Demonologist.
No. Oh.
See,
I'm actually a baby right now.
We can't see what you see down there.
Is it too dark for you? Because there's like subtle things moving in my vision right now. Oh no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
The sound is the worst thing. The sound is the worst thing, and because I think a big screen beyond would be amazing with this game, but also terrifying at the same time. Because there's just very slight gradations of grey and black. I don't know. The people watching the stream in like 1440p might be able to see it as well.
Yeah, Crispy said, go on just a little bit further.
Okay.
Is this a co-op game?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, you can play co-op in this.
That would probably take a
no.
bit of the scariness out.
No. Okay, whoever's in the chat, please tell me controls. How do I pick up a torch?
Anyone know controls?
Controls for the Demonologist. Oh, I dropped it. Is that good? Okay,
Yeah,
this is
I think you have to go into the shadows. I think that's the recommendation.
Oh no. I'm very scared right now. Oh, there's a light switch. It's not doing anything. Oh, it is doing something. Oh. Another light switch. Yeah, devs, you've done a really good job here. Oh! Okay, there's a light there. What is this? No, it's coming up. It's coming up. This is the demon room. This is the demon room, I think.
All right.
Oh,
That's
no.
what we've been waiting.
No.
I thought
Oh, no.
To touch.
Oh, God, there's another light switch. Oh. What is this? I'm a man of science. I did a degree in physics, but once my brain starts thinking of ghosts, it thinks of ghosts. Oh no. Okay. Oh, this is nice. I mean, as a property,
warm little setting.
I'm thinking, well, this is like real estate. Like, I'd be converting this into a
Virtual
dormitory.
Insider recommending that you call out for the demon.
Hello?
He's like, wait,
Hello?
that doesn't sound
Demon?
like something I want to do.
Demon?
I think why don't you shut the door behind
Something moved. Are you there? Demon? Demon? Anyone there?
They want you to shut the door.
Hello? Hello? Anyone there? Demon person? Yeah, there was stuff moving. Yeah. What is this? Magna? Oh, maybe it's got like voice recognition. Magna? Oh!
Where did they just appear?
Yeah, there's kind of a delay. Oh my gosh, there's a delay in the audio and the
Oh yeah.
in the screen, so it came up.
That was. Oh no! I'm turning that off. I'm sorry. Ooh. Okay, review. Very good. Very good horror game. Dev.
Too good of a horror game.
I like that. Just the babbling of nerves. That's good.
Okay. Let's play the free-to-play game Omega Strikers, which is a football game.
I think it's made by the makers of.
That's funny. So it's my guy hand on chest scared. That's true.
Nope. That one is gonna be in the old memory noggin for a while, I think. Ooh, I can see why they call it Shivers in the package name.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Here we go. Turn it up. Literally, this is just a comfort game now. Yeah, because you guys in the Discord are like lagged, I think. Here we go.
Myrian, this says time to change to SpongeBob SquarePants. Yeah,
Yeah.
along those lines.
Let's do
Something more.
Bright, happy colors. So this is an example of a online one. So cool to see kind of another one jumping on with other players.
Yeah. And day one, no anti-cheat. Very surprising. Yeah. Oh, I'm not goalie this time. This is actually very, very fun and addictive.
It's some connection with Riot Games. I'm not sure if it's like ex-Riot developers or they're still a part of it.
Sorry about this one, Kai.
This is one of those games, like top-down games, where I'm actually using the decoupled pitch because I think everyone else is. Wait, do I have one saved? Oh. Okay. I don't have time to. Very quickly. All right. Sorry, team. Apologies to all my teammates. So this is where you don't really get a competitive advantage in VR games if you're messing with the camera. Wait, we haven't really lost. Oh, there we are. Now we have. Turn that tiny world scale. Move that up a bit. Then save it. There we go. That looks good.
Somebody asked what controllers you've been using or what control scheme for most of these games. And
Mostly
so,
gamepad.
Yeah.
Mostly. And yeah, I use the DualSense, the Xbox controller. Like if it's on Game Pass, I'll use Xbox just because it seems to not have issues. But yeah, or just the Quest 2 controllers. Jay's mostly been using virtual desktop. I'm doing really badly. I'm still in shock from the demon. Okay, yeah, focus.
I've been using mostly Quest Pro and then some Reaver G2.
yeah, I've recently started using virtual desktop on the 2060 Super just because the performance is very forgiving on virtual desktop, I feel. And historically, for me, like cable link and OpenXR just gives the kind of the best image quality. So I'll use that one for like my 3080 Ti PC, if I just want like good image quality. But for my 2060 Super though, it's very helpful to use virtual desktop and kind of its new upscaling Snapdragon and just overall it works really well. So
cool. Yeah, somebody asked about Little Nightmares. That's one where if you zoom it in a bit, then you can basically look like 180 around you and feel like you're still in the world, and still like it's a third person from the side. But if you look like completely in the back of you, I think it's completely black. They just didn't like add anything to it. So yeah, like once you get into it, it feels just like a made for VR game. Just don't look behind you.
Yeah, I do have Little Nightmares installed, I think. I need to recover a little bit.
That one's not too scary.
It's not too scary, yeah.
Relatively.
Yeah, compared to Demonologist, it was... yeah, it's a fun little adventure. Yeah, so I'm probably playing with like Switch players right now. I would imagine.
They're hating
Or
me.
mobile players probably.
Yeah, that's wild. You're playing in VR against somebody
On an Android phone.
or Switch or the same game played across all these platforms. So there's never like an end to people to play with. It's especially cool.
Yeah, I've seen some remarks about this game being dead online, but every single time I've played, I've instantly queued.
Another day at the office.
And just being able to look at all these characters, like no one else other than a VR player will be able to get like that close, because everyone else is like really top down. This is not how it normally appears.
Looks like you've got a couple game recommendations here, Alex.
Yep.
Someone said you need to go to Visage, and Virtual Insider noted Visage would really be a nice break after Demonologist.
Yeah, that. Thanks, Alex. Yeah. Oh, I do have it installed. I don't know if I.
No, you don't have to. No.
I've got Ready or Not up. I can load it, but it's just kind of like PC and mouse, really. Do you want to see Abzu? That's quite a relaxing one. That's quite a
Yeah.
So Michael Stoll has made a couple comments about like 2.5D or 2.1D games.
Yep.
I guess kind of like Guilty
Bloodstained.
Gear.
Yeah, no, we've got. I've played some recently that are 2.5D. So they're basically just 2D games. Ender Lilies. I didn't have any downloaded because I thought people wouldn't be that interested, but they are very fun. I think they add a lot to the experience. I know
It was the Octopath Traveler.
Yeah, Octopath. That's the one I was.
The whole world looks pretty beautiful in VR. Like the model and the characters are sprites. I think that combo really works well in VR. Pixel Ripped played around with some of that in VR, where like the characters were the 2D sprites. And yeah, I'm kind of surprised more people haven't done that.
Triangle Strategy as well works really well in it, which is kind of the same. Wait, do I have Octopath Traveler? I'm gonna try and get
Yeah, Little Nightmares, if you get a chance at some point, they're
Yep, I've
kind of
got
showing a
that.
different genre.
We can do that next. I'll just show the 2.5D game.
Yeah.
Inject. Oh, this is one where I need to be. I need to change it to Windows. So that's
Yeah, Steve64 asked, so everything we're showing, nothing has been like modded game specific. This is
just
the power of the universal mod, just working like across games without any additional stuff, and how most of the games work just by launching it.
Yeah, I mean,
which is pretty incredible.
We have played around with some mods on top of it, but they're normally just very simple things like quality of life mods that you find.
Yeah, and nothing you've shown today has any additional mods. This is all just out of the box stuff.
Okay, so it's Windows. Let's do Inject. My heart is beating very fast.
Or
the devs of that game, they need to do a native VR port of it. Honestly, they were
kind of begging for it.
Yeah. License to print money. All the YouTubers will be loving to react to it, I think. Here we go. 2.5D. Oh, Kat, you guys still there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen this game before, so.
Oh, and you can see some effects like this will follow your head. Sometimes that's the case, like you see the skybox is moving my head, but we can just move around at any point with the camera offset. So you can see. Oh, whoa. So here the UI is kind of a bit broken. So the default position, I'm really far away, and you can see actually the menu in this isn't brilliant. So I mean, this is like a works okay, I would say. Just from initial, well, works okay, works poorly. I'd probably I'd probably say. Let me move closer. So you can do like large movements like that, or you can press Control, and then you can type numbers that you want in. But normally with 2.5 games like this, I normally like being kind of around this distance, I'd say. Maybe a bit further out, and similar to actually to Little Nightmares. If I load that up next, what have I got? Knife.
Yeah, Goss, Jedi Survivor works pretty great, but it's just the game itself is hard to run. So hopefully they'll continue to improve. The last patch that came out did improve performance a bit, but you're getting like to hit 90 frames per second with two eyes. Even my 4090 has to use like ASW to hit it, but it's still a pretty awesome experience if you're okay with like ASW. But yeah, hopefully that'll continue to get like improved. It's probably about the performance of Hogwarts Legacy at this point.
Yeah. But I think along with Hogwarts Legacy, Jedi Survivor, you're going to have to do some extra things outside of just pressing the inject button. If there's a game's got kind of specific problems.
Well, that one works pretty perfectly out of the box. It's just that performance. I'm not sure if there's any.
For us poor AMD folks, we'd have to disable multi-threaded stuff. On the motherboard, I think.
I think that was just a suggestion for anybody playing the game.
Okay.
So it's not really like VR.
Okay. All right. This this is a 2.5 game. Little Nightmares, I think, is actually a better example because that one's perfect.
This is a good example of how broken a game can
yeah. And if it's broken like that, where it's kind of just annoying, you don't really want to play it like that. It's not the way to play it. Just play it flat. But there's some of the 2.5D games I would really say it is the definitive way to play. Let's do Little Nightmares 2.
Steve64 asked about, does the injector automatically detect and make sense of the cameras? Yeah, it's a big part of what it's doing. Understanding the UI versus the game camera, all the math and like translation that it takes to create 6DoF from that camera. It says the player model bones. That starts getting into the more game specific modding that like you might want to do to create like 6DoF motion controls. That's not usually like universal or like done in a universal way. But I guess half of what you asked about, it is doing universally and handling all that.
Somebody asked about Elden Ring or Elder Rings. I think they mean Elden Ring, but yeah, that's not Unreal Engine. I don't believe it's.
That should be the sequel. Elden Ring and Elder Ring.
So I'm just making it windowed there and getting the settings up. Pressing eject.
Satisfactory. There's probably a number of people who want to see that.
To do the sound as well. So I can hear you guys. Okay. I've not actually played this with Injector yet. I've just done the first game.
This is when I think I have to turn depth of field off and then zoom it in quite a bit to avoid.
but it'll look really sharp after you've adjusted the C bars.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings Gandalf's Revenge. I mean, even if like the new Gollum game, which is Unreal Engine, even if that's just okay, I'm still excited.
Yeah.
For almost any game like that to come out, where it's just like, oh, cool, I get to see these worlds in VR, and like that's a selling point alone. So like, even if the story is just okay, suddenly it turns it from like an okay game to this is gonna be pretty exciting, pretty awesome.
Yeah, I don't really feel like I'm playing a game. I'm visiting somewhere almost. Like I want to go to a cafe somewhere because it looks really cool. I'm going to this game world just because it's like I'm here now. Like this just feels completely different. Like I'm having a completely different like emotional reaction whenever I'm in a game like this compared to just watching it on a screen. As you can see with the demonologist, although I think I'd probably still react similar. So this one moves in a little bit, and again, annoyingly you can't see this, but you can see my head movement does a lot more with. Oh, let's load. Save a camera like that, and then 2 different ones like this. There we go. And then I can just swivel my chair. I can just swivel my chair around, and now I'm. But now I'd have to swivel my controller as well.
Now, one thing, Alex, I don't think we've shown yet, which I'm not sure if it'll show in the video, is that you can actually change some of the color gradient on here as well, because with some LCD headsets, it may be better to, or really any of the headsets, just be better to adjust the color scheme slightly.
Yeah, so there's a gamma slider, which is pretty helpful for. I mean, this looks pretty good out the box, but some games you might think, oh, they're lacking a bit of contrast. You can boost the mids a bit, boost the very top. There you can see I'm kind of clipping the top. So,
especially if you have like a Quest Pro or like an OLED that certain
or just that's
need
like
certain colors to like hit those pure darks that you might want to tweak a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've like clipped that. Now I feel like it's Instagram filter. Now I've done that. Let's put that back.
And then there's also the sharpness can really go a long way.
Yeah, I've only put that a little bit, but ooh, yeah, that's sharp. Yeah.
Somebody else, can you enable subtitles on the YouTube stream, please? Can that
the
do it
captions?
in real time?
Apologies, this is our first stream. But we
didn't know that worked real time. Interesting.
Oh, did it work? Oh, brilliant.
No, I don't think it's on, but I'll have to look into that. Maybe they just mean for watching the replay, making sure
yep,
that gets turned on.
Someone's asking about this the spreadsheet. It says, what does the SS stand for?
Side scroller.
Slide scroller. Okay.
Yeah. We got
somebody asked
top
about
down.
Pico 4. My brother actually has a Pico 4, and that works well. That has been tested.
You have to crouch to get through there. There we go.
I can see you're watching slightly delayed. I've managed to get through. Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the immersion is really something that like something like this really doesn't do it justice. Like when you're playing with full motion controls, you can say, "Oh, that's VR." Like you can see that they're in it, but here the screen probably doesn't look so different from simply playing flat other than being able to look around, but like seeing it 3D and like the scale, it looks like you're looking at something like Moss. It looks incredible.
Yeah, it's just like a model in front of me.
So Eurofil had a great question about the camera views tied to a controller shortcut. They are tied to a controller shortcut. You just have to bring up the framework, and then there's a couple options that you can do there.
Yeah, you press right trigger, and then the default right trigger modifiers just do like reset the view, and then you can do D-pad left or right. And now page 2 with the D-pad, that loads the presets that you've saved to B, Y, or X, and you can flip between them. And then say I'm on this one and I want to reset it, and then I can go and save it again. You have to remember not to overwrite something you do want, but after a while of playing, especially the amount of games I've tested so far, it's kind of muscle memory now to save them and to load them up. So I would be pretty confident that most people will get used to that quite quickly. The switching, at least. Well, some things like this, like in a game where that's supposed to be quite hidden, but in VR, it's right there. But I think if I went to the default view, that's not as clear. That's a tripwire. But then I didn't actually see what was above me. It's like a pushing puzzle.
So Sophie was asking if we've tested this on co-op games. Yes. So a lot of the games work if they don't have like anti-cheat a part of them. And then, as discussed earlier, there are some ways kind of around like the anti-cheat if you can want to just play offline or private servers, things like that. But like a game like Grounded, for example, you could play with flat screen players or other people who are using the injector. All that works fine.
I didn't quite do that fast enough. What other things that we could test? Yeah, because we've played with all kinds of people online. And essentially, if it injects, you're good to go. And it's only when you just can't inject that's normally the stopping point of the anti-cheat. I could do more Tau. What we got here? We've got Visage.
So someone asked if Praydog wants the ability to inject in any game that's in Unreal Engine 5. Yeah, pretty much most of these games are Unreal Engine 4 or 5, and we just played Demonologist that was Unreal Engine 5 and it works. So the idea is universal and it should work.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that unrecorded demo that I played. That was something that the dev released pretty early on, and that worked really well. But it was a very early demo that they put out showing it.
Oh, that's right. I didn't like all the post-processing effects and things that they, I guess, added later.
Yeah, so we'll have to see when it does release, but it theoretically should work.
This is online as well. The one thing that doesn't work when we come to co-op games are split screen games, or games that are for split screen at the moment, like It Takes Two. I think there's been some challenges kind of getting those to work. I think we'd have to get a mod that removes the split screen aspect entirely.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think It Takes Two would be a great one. Somebody asked, will the public tool for everyone reshade or complete mod for dev only? It's definitely something that will release for anyone to pick up. Reshade just jump in their favorite games and start playing. I mean, as you're watching Alex, it doesn't take much to like tweak a game to be a pretty good experience out of the box. And then if a modder wanted to take it even farther, they certainly could. But like most of these games work still pretty great out of the box.
Yeah, even just like, without motion controls, you just pick up a controller, and even if you didn't move your head much, it's you're here, you're in the game.
Somebody was asking about Borderlands 3 and Tiny Tina's Wonderland. They were looking at the spreadsheet and noticed that they work poorly.
Yeah, at the moment.
So that works really well, except for the weapons are set to a different field of view. We were talking about that earlier, where I think it would just require some custom modding for that. But like the weapons itself are invisible. And then the other thing is the UI that's using that old Adobe Flash UI system. Yeah, between not being able to see like your guns and then not being able to see the UI, we got it kind of playable if you switch to third person. Yeah. But anyway, I think that's when a modder would want to jump in and try to tweak that and clean that up a bit.
Yeah. But it's one of those games which it's so popular, I would imagine there'd be lots of interest from
Yeah, and it like so much of it works well. Like already just the sixed off walking around the world, it's pretty awesome to see. So
yeah. Because I mean, games like that where you go on Nexus mods and there's so many mods, it's great, and I think we'll probably have mods for it relatively soon. But it's the games where there's no one knows about the game, it's not popular, there's no mods for it. It's amazing to have like the motion controls, all these features just kind of out of the box. Like some kind of obscure indie games, itch.io games, and just being able to like have the freedom of like choice is my favorite part of it so far. Like this thing, Earth Defense Force. Like I probably wouldn't have bought this if it wasn't for the mod. And my Steam library's become ridiculously excessive because of it. And I think a lot of other people will also be picking things up which they wouldn't have considered otherwise.
I 100% agree with that. I mean, none of these games I would have ever tried without, of course, the Praydog mod.
It turns it into such a different thing where just I think seeing these worlds is like a selling point alone. Like even if the gameplay is not quite as good, like there's better options out there if you're just playing on a flat screen. I think the immersion and like seeing it visually in VR can add so much that even just like a game you wouldn't necessarily pick up otherwise suddenly becomes worth playing. What was the question? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just looking at Andy VR reviews questions. I think maybe he's asking about mobile games, I guess.
I guess Omega Strikers was kind of a mobile game. Well, it is a mobile game. Also, I've tried some MMOs that are mobile first, like Noah's Heart. That actually surprisingly did work. So if there's a PC like executable, then you're all good. But I don't think we've tried anything with like an emulator or anything. It's just kind of PC.
Yeah, that would be a very different type of modding.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Webb's right. I think he was talking about an APK. It sounded like he was talking about side loading, maybe something, which I don't think it would work for that, just because it's just.
Oh, he means getting games to run on Quest itself. Okay. Right.
So like.
Yeah, I mean, like in theory, I think in theory, it could be done, there's not nearly as many. Well, maybe there's. I don't know the whole mobile game scene too much, but I know a lot of the. There's a lot of Unity games. There's some, but then
Conan,
some of the other ones like PUBG, I think that has probably some type of anti-cheat. But anyway, I'm sure, like in theory, you could probably create an injector. Like Android doesn't have the same DLL system that you can start a game, but we have examples of doing it, like the way that the Minecraft Quest VR mod works, where it's still loading the Java version through like a compatibility later and injecting a different way. So that could be a route, like if there was some reason to do that, but that's not in the scope or anything of what Praydog's doing right now.
and somebody asked about Conan Exiles and Arc. I know Conan Exiles was tested.
Conan works really well.
Yes.
And then
It's-
Arc very soon is coming out with the
Yeah.
Unreal Engine 5
5.
remake, and that should work. Typically, like the newer the engine version is, the better it is, because more like as Unreal has been developed, more and more things have created official implementations of. So like the way he adjusted the color correction, that was something that was added a little bit later, like a universal color control system, or these different frameworks that are built into Unreal that handle a lot of things. So yeah, typically the newer the version that Unreal and like was built on, the even better it'll work.
I will try something. Should we do? It's gone quite. Should we do one last game and then wrap it up?
Yeah, sounds good. What's a good last one?
Yeah.
Should we do Ready or Not? That's probably quite popular, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of people wanted to see that.
This won't have any problems. I might need some help from chat here on the controls, or Jay or someone who's played this more.
Somebody asked about Dead Island 2. I think that one was pretty good.
The
but
UI was
performance is bad.
problematic.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And was kind of synced, I believe. I see the comments about Visage.
Yeah.
It's been scarred
midnight.
enough for one thing.
Yeah, it's too scary. All right, let me crank the res up a bit gently. This one's a bit more framework size. There we go. Oh no, that's probably, this was from when I last played it. We'll put that upscaling algorithm on. Yes, please.
Somebody noted the Evil Dead game works perfectly.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was free on Epic, I think, not that long ago.
Yeah.
Okay, should. All right. I think I did
It
something
is cool
weird.
how many Unreal Engine games go free on Epic. They must have some type of deal with. Well, I'm sure they do have a deal using the engine licensing it, but a lot of the games that do appear like free, the weekly downloads, are Unreal Engine games. So we'll have a pretty big library built up of like completely free.
The game is not streaming right now.
Oh, can you not? Oh, is it not? I've not clicked the layer. Oh, I haven't yet. That's. Sorry about that. Oh, did I run this? Oh, I know what I've done. I have it's saved the last time I've run this, and it's on OpenVR. Is it on OpenVR? Yeah, it's OpenVR. Okay. Can copy and paste this in. Let me restart it. Very apologies. OpenVR also just runs worse with a Quest headset. In general, but for me it's pretty close. Apologies. I've played so many games that I forget that I've got settings already done from weeks ago. Loading it again. Second time try. Hopefully this live stream's been okay. It's not been too much of a disaster. Apologies for the time slot and not pressing the go live button. What am I have to read out? Right, we're doing it. Yeah.
Somebody mentioned that it'll be better than PSVR 1, and this is something I've brought up before, that I find it interesting that some of the PlayStation games, like Returnal, for example, will be able to be played on PC and VR, but you wouldn't be able to play it on like PSVR 2, for example. Something like kind of an interesting concept.
Yeah, it makes me wonder. Like even Sackboy is a Sony-made game, and that works so well. You're like, how in the world are they not pushing to get these on PSVR 2? I mean, it plays just like their big launch one with PSVR 1, the Astrobot. Yeah, Astrobot. And it's so cool. I don't know. It works just so well, and you're like, it feels kind of wrong that the PC port's able to do it, and the official stuff isn't.
Yeah. So Alex,
again, hopefully that'll just shed light on like how close a lot of these games are to being great ports if they officially did it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Or even if like PSVR 2 just like had something built in for their their games on their console, that a stereo mode can always be activated. For VR, like for 6-off head movements. That alone would be enough, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be hard for them to do to ever release something like the Injector, but still, yeah, I think it would give a glimpse of showing like how close it could be if devs cleaned it up a bit more and then like released it officially.
So, Alex, how do you get rid of because what we see is kind of a gray box, like the UI boxes following
I think the hacky way we were doing it before was just I think we hid it by like making it really small and then like moving it behind or just in front, and I think I just like physically moved something like that, or I made it really big, there we go, and just kind of put it behind me. Mouse is going weird, I think because I've just turned off and on motion controls. Apologies. This is one of these games where it's the controls which will be the key element.
Is there a vignette, Sevar? I mean, you can turn that off pretty quickly.
Alright, how did we start a mission?
yeah, this is one I haven't played, so I don't know.
We need somebody who's played.
Yeah. I've kind of just run around. There we go. It likes the motion controls. Was it here? It's like black and white for some reason. I don't know if it's because I've been shooting civilians or... It's gone
You
all LA
lost
Noir.
the privilege of seeing in color.
Yeah.
Oh wait.
Maybe it's over here. Yeah, because this we tested. It's like clearly the motion controls work, the Praydog ones. It's just all the button maps are keyboard presses, complicated keyboard presses, like the shout at civilian button and stuff. All that flashed. I think it's like an enter maybe.
Destroy all humans was tested, wasn't it?
Yes. Praydog actually made a specific fix for that. Because they were well, not a game specific fix, but they were doing some weird things. Oh, there we go. I've opened a menu. So
Like-
we've hidden the menu. It now looks like this. There we go. Wendley Hills Hotel, gas station, Vol Health House. There we go. What do I need to... waiting to deploy. Here we go. Oh wow, that looks cool.
I think Payday 3 is coming out soon, and it's
Talk to entry team.
Affirmative.
Entry team.
Moving into your
Suspects
position.
have taken refuge in the area and are refusing to cooperate. Move in.
Ah, I know why my thing wasn't working. It was that. Now I can move to keyboard and mouse. Just yeah, we go. Trying to hit my microphone. Actually, the aim down sights is like perfect, right in the middle of my vision, where I'm centered. Good. You're a civilian.
Somebody fucking help us!
Okay.
Get
Fucking
down
cocksuckers.
now.
Hands up!
Fucking cocksuckers!
Hands up!
I'm complying!
Ooh. I'm auto running. I don't know why. Have I clicked something? I feel like it doesn't like the transition between doing a motion controls and then doing keyboard and mouse. Right controller. Head mount. Oh, head mounted works well. Nope. Still moving weird. Apologies. I have no idea what's going on. Also, I probably because I moved the UI as well. It didn't like me doing that. The box. Yeah, that's probably caused some weirdness. Maybe I should just reset my settings. This is... Oh, that's worked. That's worked. Resetting. Oh no, I'm still moving. I'm still moving right. I don't know.
There's like a controller drift.
Yeah, maybe. I think bingo. I think that's probably... Oh my god. Yeah, I think you're probably right. My quest controllers are probably the culprit here. Oh, there we go. I'm helping. I'm helping. You know, motion controls, and then I can... Ooh, no, keyboard's doing something. Okay, well, this is pretty janky. I apologise. But you can see that it's not released.
Shoot you!
It's just this game. Probably my configuration. Yeah.
Cool. Well, any very last questions? Take one
Yeah.
more question, and then we'll close it up.
Someone said in shooters, do iron sights actually line up? So for this particular game, Alex, you mentioned that it actually does usually. Is that correct?
Yeah, and like High on Life, when you do the left trigger, it will just go straight to the center of your view, like right between your face, and it's great.
Yeah.
Some games don't do that exactly. The ones more that kind of aren't as like realistic, that rely more on like crosshairs and things, that they generally don't line up as well. But yeah, especially things like High on Life, Ready or Not does.
Well, it worked
Japan
really
is
well.
good.
It felt like it was like right up, lined up too. But yeah, it's going to be a matter of kind of if the devs did anything weird, like changing it or changing the field of view, like we were talking about before, some guns that might need some like additional modding to kind of undo some of that. But for the most part, like most games do work pretty well.
All right, cool. Anybody else have?
Well, I thank you very much for your time, Elliot and Lance, for helping me.
It's been really fun. Enjoyed it.
Experiment here. Hopefully, people have enjoyed it a little bit, or have learnt something new, or it now doesn't seem as unreal or as mythical. It's a thing, and it's in progress. Right.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome.
All right, guys. Have a good one, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, Alex, for doing the stream.
Yeah.
No problem.
Take care.
Bye-bye.